Hello, Dr. Venus.
Hello, Dr. Jackson.
So glad to get a chance to talk with you on the Three Docs podcast. Today, we're going to talk about Nonzero, the logic of human destiny.
Yes.
Such a huge topic. I mean,
A huge topic.
history
Big
of the
book.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So let's get our presentation up here. There we go. And so the author is Robert Wright, and this book was written in 1999. So it was a good
So,
distance away.
yeah, I read somewhere it was in 2001. Oh, it
Oh,
came out in 2001. Yeah. So you're right.
yeah,
Probably written in 99, then came out in
yeah.
2001.
A lot of the quotes and things were 98 and in the 90s,
Oh,
and
okay.
there was one mention of the attempted bombing of the World Trade Center, and that
Yes.
was the first attempted in the bomb in the basement in the car parking. And so
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting looking back
Yeah.
20, 26 years, 25 years, and seeing how the world has changed. And that also colored the way I read this book.
Oh,
It
okay.
was, just knowing that it'd been a minute since a lot of these things happened, and looking back on the world being flat and what a new idea the internet was, and all kinds of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So let's see. We started this podcast based on a list from Daniel Pink and the 21 books that changed his life. And this episode is the second to last. It's the 21st, I think, or 20th.
It's the 20th. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
21 books, and yeah. So now we did. We have to say we replaced one of them with Daniel Pink's book. So that was uh, not the one he suggested we read, but we loved it so much, the grid, that we brought it in, and it went.
Yes.
It actually, there was another book that we felt we could replace with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one was really interesting. Not one I would normally choose for myself.
Yeah, I do love history
Mhm.
and different cultures, but I probably have a different take on history
Mhm.
on the different cultures. So it was interesting to read what he had to say and what he researched.
Mhm.
So I'm not. Don't want to knock that. Certainly
Mm-mm.
a different perspective. Good to hear, but
Yeah.
it's not what I've ever known or read, and not all of it, but some of it.
Right. Right. And I wanted to jump in here. If some of our listeners have a suggested book that they would like to suggest to us to read for next
Oh,
season,
oh
we would
yes,
love to
that
hear some suggestions.
would
And
be
we,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
we look forward to it. Will probably be sometime in the summer, I think, is when we'll pick this back up for season 2.
yes, yes.
All right. So what does Daniel Pink say about this book?
Okay. Let me see if I can read it. I have different glasses while I'm waiting on the new glasses, and these are not
Mm,
so great. So, the books that can change your mind are those that help you see what is going on, not on the surface, but a few layers underneath. There are two ways of interactions we can have. In zero sum interactions, the only way for you to win is for the other person to lose. And in the positive sum interactions, the way for me to win is to help you win. So most interactions are positive, some interactions, which is good. So this is especially true since economies have grown larger and humans have become more interconnected. This book came out in 2001, and and is even more relevant today when some dark forces are trying to push us towards some dog eat dog pessimistic future. And that, I mean, I have to agree with that. That's Daniel Pink's saying, and it's very true. So in 1999, the book Nonzero, The Logic of Human Destiny by Robert Wright argues that history is not a random sequence of events, but a directed process fueled by the logic of game theory that posits that both biological and cultural evolution are driven by the search for non-zero-sum games, interactions where cooperation leads to mutual benefit rather than one side winning at the expense of the other. So that may be quite contested today. I don't see much cooperation today. No matter where, it's everybody wants to be right and not give in. That's what I see. So would be nice if we, and like he said, like Daniel Pink said, this book is even more relevant today. So it speaks to that, and I wish more people would read especially this paragraph.
Definitely it seems like we find more reasons to argue with people today than to find common ground and agree with people.
Yes, and move forward. And what we're not doing is moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So your first discussion point, what do you think?
Yes. In chapter 9, I came upon this. The rise, fall, repeat is a pattern that most ancient civilizations followed. Rulers and dynasties and peoples may change, but all seemed locked into the same cycle of quest, expansion, fragmentation, and collapse. The standard of 6 civilizations were Mesopotamia, Egypt, Mesoamerica, South America, China, and the civilization of the Indus River Valley in South Asia. We are left with 3 large realms of ancient civilization: China, the Near East, and the New World. The chiefdoms' villages evolved into something bigger and more complex and combined to chiefdoms, then into towns, then into city-states surrounded by farmlands and villages and towns. So the first paragraph is something I talk about all the time. So the only thing I have a little bit of a different take on why civilizations break down and disappear. And I talk about this all the time, the rise and fall of the Persians, the rise and fall of Egypt, the rise and fall of ancient Greek and the Romans and all that. Mm-hmm. He says they are conquered by barbarians, which comes later. The barbarians aren't really, is what he says, as primitive as we would like for them to be. They take over our technology and expand it, is what he says. They want what we have, and they bring us to ruin and take over. And that is probably partly true. Or he has a point, I want to say, but in my mind, it's also a civilization that gets so comfortable with the high status they have achieved, that they don't want to do anything about anything,
Mhm.
status quo. That's too much work. This is too much effort. This is too, because that's what I hear today all the time. Young people saying, "Oh, I'm not doing that. No, that's not. Oh, I'm not fighting for this country. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that." And when you're not willing to do that, when you're not willing to fight for what you have, you lose it.
Mm. True, true. And also, you mentioned technology and how that the barbarians, and there's a different not a different spin on the concept of a barbarian. It just means someone, in my what I understand is that someone who's at a different level of development than what you are at. And
Yeah.
since we don't understand it well, we just say, well, they're barbarians because they do blah blah blah. Their technology isn't as fancy as ours, or something like that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting way to look at
Yeah.
how the technology, for example, one technology that we have now has made the world such a small place, right?
Yes.
Well, so did the Silk Road
Yes.
back from China to Europe. It made the world a smaller place. And so did the printing press. It made
Yes.
the world a smaller place because of all that technology. Um,
Mhm.
but there's always going to be some other development, some other technology that will blow our minds, and we'll just think, oh, this is changing the world. And our our followers,
And,
those coming behind us, are
yeah.
going to be discovering this.
And as the world moves,
Hmm.
and expands, and people go, and sometimes to invade and conquer, and
Hmm.
sometimes because they lost their way of life, they need to find a different place to live. And as we start to mix populations, it's natural that we learn from each other, you know.
Hmm.
And that can be a positive thing, and that can be a negative thing. As with everything, technology that's invented for something good, can
Hmm.
also be misused for something bad. And we witness that time and time again. Just think of the drones,
Hmm.
could
Hmm.
be a really good thing in the delivery of mail and packages and whatnot, and no sooner does it come out, someone straps a gun to it and flies
Yeah.
into someone's yard and shoots them
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, so a lot of the inventions, I think, before they are released, it may be good to figure out, well, what purpose will they be used for? Should they
Hmm.
be released? Should we go that route?
Yeah.
What how could they be used to destroy us?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of a accepting responsibility for what we're
Yes.
creating and
Hmm.
looking at the consequences for what we're doing. We think that we can do anything we want without any consequence. So,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, it's something we should pause. We should pause a minute,
Yeah.
slow down those.
Slow down and weigh all options and all
Yes.
ends and see, well, do we want that? It's just like with industry, a lot of it is very, very good. But then when it leads to pollution of our rivers and
Mm,
acreage, and, and
yeah.
things where we grow food on, this may not be so good,
Right. 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 And hopefully, it doesn't take 30 to 50 years to figure that out.
to figure that
You know.
out, yeah, when it's too late.
Yeah, we've already poisoned each other and our
Yeah,
land.
yeah.
Okay, on another positive note,
Our friends, the barbarians. I thought that was, I really loved that. What is a barbarian? The misconception that barbarians are less civilized, less decent, and less humane can easily be refuted by the actions of the Romans, whose regular form of entertainment was the slaughter of Jews, their enemies' children, and Christians. The second misconception, that barbarians lack culture, is also contrary to their level of education and their contributions to mankind's upward movement. So true. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, look in front of your own door in the dirt you accumulate there, and that is so true. We want to often tell other people in other countries what to do, because they are inhumane here and inhumane there, and this is not right, and that is not. And then look at what's going on behind your own door,
Yeah.
So that's something that's just hypocrisy.
Yeah. 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 It was, I had my own definition of barbarian in my
Yes.
head before this book. So, yeah, it
Yeah.
gets me to think about a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too. So, but that's. I'm glad he points that out. Look in your own backyard and what
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
civilized population did for amusement. So,
Right. Yeah. That was
yeah,
barbaric.
yeah, yeah,
All right. So just backing up a little bit, some of the things I learned from this book are just the meaning of non-zero sum
yeah,
interactions. Now, where it came from. I didn't know that it stemmed from game theory, and that is
yeah,
where conflict, um, in a conflict, both sides can benefit. One does not have to be a loser. And
yeah,
so that means that in a zero sum conflict, that if I win, my competitor must lose. And so when I think about game, we were talking about game theory, and um, in multiplayer games, when you play them online, and this I'm speaking about 5 years ago, when I used to play in one, it was actually called like a civilization kind of game, where you group with people and you build a city, and then you go and try to mine for jewels or gold or other resources, and then you bring that back and enrich your country or your people. But it's an online game, so I was playing with people I didn't actually know face to face. And the cool thing about that was, when you joined a team, everyone kind of understood, okay, we're all on the same team, and we're all going to try to do the best we can, and we're going to win, go team, go. There was a non-zero sum kind of interaction there with my teammate. And if I did something wrong, they would say, well, this is what you did wrong, but we're going to pull together, we're going to continue on. It was more
yeah. And he
possibility.
mentions here how how we developed from the small hunter gatherer, into the city states. And he mentions an example to where when you were only hunting rabbits, you could do that by yourself.
Hmm.
But then when you have big game to hunt that you cannot bring down yourself,
Yeah.
let's say a mammoth or so,
Yeah. Yeah.
then people work together to get it done.
Hmm.
And that's the non-zero sum
Hmm.
goal to
Right.
work together where both sides win.
Exactly. And how the example he used was the Shoshone tribe, where
Yes.
most of the year they were individual
Mhm.
family units. They would
Yeah.
hunt their own, but then at a certain time of year, they would collect rabbits, and they would create a rabbit net, and everyone would work together to collect all these rabbits to harvest.
Yeah.
And that was how they started their idea that maybe, well, collectively we can do a lot more. We have more food when we all hunt together, so maybe we should hunt together some more often, or things like that. Those kinds of ideas come up when you're working with a group.
Yeah.
And
And even, if you take that into a modern workplace, if you work as a team, you get more done than individually,
yeah,
on your,
struggling. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then social social complexity benefits when we all win. So it's similar kind of deal. When you're working with a team, everyone brings their history with them. They bring their skills, and they bring their strengths together. And that so that things can get more complex when there's more brains, more people and eyeballs looking at the problem. And that it's a much more positive experience, I think, when
Yes.
the group is positive minded like that.
Yeah.
And then cultural evolution is not linear nor inevitable. Just because you have a bunch of people does not mean they're all going to form a city state, form a chiefdom, and then a government, and then just go
Yeah.
up the hierarchy. That's not inevitable. It
Yes.
has to. People have to appreciate that in each other.
Yeah.
And then one irritation I had with this book, and it's probably because I'm not smart enough to understand everything that the author was talking about, but there were references to other works, and other authors, and some deep references that, well, for me, that was deep, and I had to actually look and try
Mhm.
to understand. They would talk about an Italian scholar, and then
Yeah.
next be talking
Names.
about Shoshone Indians, and then
Yeah.
next,
Yeah.
World War II situations and cultures and what we
Yeah.
learned from that.
He
So it was difficult for
hopscotch.
me.
Yeah, hopscotch around very a
Yeah, yeah,
lot,
yeah,
and I lost track. Wait a minute, what did we just talk about, and why are we here now?
yeah,
You're right.
yeah,
There was no smooth connection to
yeah,
the events, so they did not logically follow each other. It was just, oh, here, and then, oh, and now we're here. In one of them, in chapter 5, he's talking war. What is it good for? So he goes to Canero's push view of the world versus Service's pull view of the world. What are you talking about? Wars are often zero sum, featuring a clear winner and a clear loser. However, wars can also be negative sum, in which both sides lose. For this reason, Sincere suggests that instead of waging war, we should wage peace. Well, good idea, but it's not
yeah,
that simple,
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
who are they? I don't think
Right.
that was really well explained in the book. Who are
Yeah.
these people?
Well, in the war, that first part of that sentence, "war, what is it good for," is a quote from a popular song.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's called
yeah. I
"War."
remember. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, but I mean, you go. So in my mind, when I read something like this, and this is just the way I read, I am pushed into the here and the now. A rock song, "War, what is it good for?" In the
yeah,
'60s, and protests and things like that. But then he drops back down into his looking and analyzing historical
yeah.
writings, and we should wage peace instead of war. And then I don't know. It was just difficult for my little pea brain
And
to
that's
jump.
to me a very naive way of looking things. You have to analyze first. Why do people wage war?
Hmm.
Number one, I want what you got, and because I have nowhere else to go, it's destruction behind me, and you still have. So I want what you got, and if you're not sharing, and I'm stronger than you, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how a lot of the former wars started.
Mm-hmm.
If you think of the Napoleon's expansion eastward, until he was stopped by Russia, it was not that they didn't have, but he just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be mightier than might, so that he was driven by that. But then in other cases, it's driven by, we have nothing, we need to
Yeah.
go look for other resources, and you got them. Unfortunately, you're there because now we want it, and if you
Mm-hmm.
don't share, we take it if we can.
Yeah. Hunger,
Yeah.
hunger, disease, things,
Hunger.
negative things they're trying to get away from, trying
Yeah,
to,
yeah. There's a
yeah.
lot of reasons why people wage war, and sometimes it's disagreements, over silly
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I think that needed to be examined more closely.
Yeah.
Why do we have war? And yeah. And in some cases, he's right. No one wins. In some
Right.
cases,
Right.
if it
And
leads to the destruction of both parties,
yeah,
what
if
good is
I,
it for?
yeah, if I may, you look at pictures of
Yeah,
Ukraine
yeah, yeah. It
and
came to mind first thing.
total destruction,
Yeah,
and sometimes it's not hunger, but sometimes it might be greed. And like
greed.
you
Yeah,
said, it needs to
and
be
but then
examined.
also the death of so many Russian soldiers,
Hmm.
needlessly, just because I want it, so y'all can die. Because this is what we're gonna do. Not that they wanted to.
Mm-mm.
They had to.
Yeah,
So
sure. They had signed up to be soldiers.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
Well, and
It's
if you're a conscript, you didn't sign up for it. That's what
That's
you
true.
are
That's
required to
true.
do for your country, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or we kill you right away. There's
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, that's
history
scary.
full of that. You have the choice: you either go and fight or you die now.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay. So one quote from the book that kind of jumped out at me is, "For now, the point is that human nature itself, unadorned by technology, carries mutual benefit, and
yes,
thus social structure beyond the confines of family." So, well, the arrow of human history, the arrow that heads toward more non-zero sumness and deeper and vaster social complexity, doesn't begin at zero. A universal feature of hunter gatherer societies, some anthropologists say, is generalized reciprocity, not just within families, but between them. So,
yeah,
as some anthropologists say, that people will build a society by reciprocity, by bartering, by helping each other. And then they benefit from each other, whether or not they stay together and they develop into a more complicated culture. Uh, it doesn't matter. But between families and within families, I think to me that was a very optimistic
yes.
um, point of view.
Yeah, it is, and I think there really is no solution to further, to where it goes south, where it goes
Yeah,
negative. Because if you think, just a few examples in history, how did it start out when the Europeans came to this country and met the Indians? You
yeah,
know, at first we have Thanksgiving together because they welcome us and they share their food with us and they help us survive in this country. But then what happens? More and more people come, the
Yeah.
hordes come, and all of a sudden they're overwhelmed, and all of a sudden they have no more say so. They're just being
Right.
overrun. And you see
And
that
yeah.
in other parts of the world going on the same way.
Yeah. Exposed. They were exposed to different diseases that nobody knew they couldn't. Their bodies couldn't handle.
Diseases
Things
and
like
just
that.
being taken over, it's just being
Yeah.
taken over by the majority. The
Yeah.
majority rules. I there's no other way of saying it.
Yeah.
Just being taken over by in their way of life, and then here it starts. It's this way or no way, or our
Hmm.
way is better, and here we go.
Yeah. And we're just inviting ourselves into your
Yes,
land.
whether you like it or not, we're
Yeah.
coming, and now it goes our way because now we have more power than you do,
Yeah.
But at first, it starts out really friendly and really good, and not in all cases,
True.
there's
True.
cases where, the westward expansion, where there were lots of attacks on those
Mm,
caravans. But I think by that time they had learned that we're not coming with the best intentions.
yeah.
That we
Yeah.
may we're just taking their land and declare it our own, whether you like
Yeah.
it or not. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, yeah,
Wish
exactly. I
the
mean,
world
there
this
there are a
way.
lot of things in the
Yeah,
past that you
yeah.
have to learn what you can from them, and perhaps to treat others more.
And if you
Have it affect how we treat each other now.
yeah.
But I can't go back and change the wrongs that were done
Exactly,
250
exactly.
years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But you said the key word. Have we learned something? And
yeah,
just look at the latest development, and the answer to that is no.
that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're probably right there, Dr. Venus. All right,
Yeah.
so which brings us to the New World Government. The last
Yes.
quote that I traditionally, the idea of world government has been embraced mainly by left-wing peaceniks, right? We're all going to live in a utopia, and we're
Yeah.
going to live in peace, and we're going to, live in the same commune.
Yeah.
But in other corners, it draws various kinds of disdain, two of which are of special interest in this particular chapter. One school finds the notion hopelessly unrealistic, saying, "No, no way, we are not going to live all together happily." And it files those left wing peaceniks under the label woolly minded one worlders. And the second school finds the notion plausible but terrifying and speaks ominously of the coming new world order. And so some people believe that as we all get more technologically advanced and we intersperse with each other and we deal and trade with each other, that we're all just going to form into one government where we all get together and we work as one country. But I personally don't think that's going to happen, and I
Yeah.
don't want it to happen because uh, I don't necessarily believe what everyone else in the world believes.
Yeah.
I'm kind
And
of partial to what I believe.
history has shown that that doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's you're looking at many countries in all the major regions of the world, when different tribes, different cultures, different ethnic groups, different when they come together, um, they just don't get along.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just don't get along.
Yeah.
and sometimes the peace is uneasy but holding, and sometimes there's constant warfare,
Yeah.
constant strife, constant demonstrations, constant attacks, constant insecurity. So it just, history has shown that it doesn't work. Would
Yeah.
it be
I think,
nice?
yeah.
Yes, it would be nice because, like you said, the world is getting smaller. We got to
Hmm.
find a way.
And I think that the alphabet soup of the World Trade Federation and the UN and other organizations made up of different nations, they there's no peace, harmony, and
Yes,
wonderful
I agree.
experience with
Yeah,
that. You
can't
know,
ever agree on anything. Yeah,
I think that we need to find a way to get along peacefully with each other, but appreciate that we are different, and we don't all have to live in the same house.
you're right. Yeah, and which really makes me think back to Darwin. Is the fittest surviving?
Mm,
You
I don't
know.
know. Don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask.
Yeah. So what can we do to get along better with others who are different from us? Do you think?
Um,
What
y- well,
how do we do that?
there's some. First of all, learn about each other. Uh,
Hmm.
be more willing to learn about each other, and you know, but it cannot be one-sided, and that's what I see all the time. The
Yeah.
tolerance that is required or requested um, is too one-sided. you
Yeah.
know it doesn't there should be a give and take, like one of the
Yeah.
books we read. There
Yeah.
needs to be a give and take, and in some acknowledgement that some of the things that you do are just not acceptable you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
so that's why I don't want to accept this culture, and I
Yeah.
don't want to go into specifics, but there,
Sure.
there are some things of some cultures I cannot live with. You
Well,
know,
and I think that you have to it's almost a form of self-respect
yes,
that I understand who I am and how I want to relate to the world around me.
mhm, yeah,
But that doesn't demean you. It just means I have
exactly,
a respect for what I
but
believe, and I can respect what you believe. But
exactly,
we
and
don't
I
have to
don't
keep
want to
trying
be,
to.
yeah, and I don't want to be forced
No,
to
right?
submit
Nobody does.
to
Yeah,
your way of life. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's what it comes out to be all the time.
yeah, yeah. That it only ends right if I believe what you say.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't think
and
that's
I don't think,
cool.
I don't. I'm wondering if we ever solve this issue.
I don't think we will, Dr. Venus.
I
And
don't think so
but
either.
that doesn't. Yeah, we still
You
need
know,
to live, though.
yeah,
We live together on this earth.
in my lifetime, which
Hmm.
spans quite a bit, but I can say in my lifetime, I've lived through my upbringing where it was one society. There were just us, and we all submitted to the same rules and same way of life
Hmm.
because that's what we were used to. This is what you do. This is our society. This is how we rule. This is how you grow up, and these are the rules, and you follow them. But as we began to intermix more, all of a sudden, well, I can't force them to be quiet in the afternoon so the babies can sleep or so, well,
Mm.
I that's not their culture, so we have to be tolerant of this. um really, but why do I have to,
Yeah,
and then why am I forced to be tolerant of them and they're not forced to be tolerant of me, and here we go. you
And
know.
then if you're both forcing each other to be tolerant of each other, is that really tolerance
It's
or
not.
just
You're
compliance?
right.
Are you just complying?
Yeah, you're
That's
right. You're right.
that's like what a teacher asks of her classroom is participation, not compliance.
Yeah,
And and it's the same. I think that's a good neighbor, a good citizen is
yeah,
participation.
yeah. So, and I don't think we will ever solve this.
No, but I
He's
mean that's also the message of the book,
yes,
that cultures rise and fall
and
for
fall
various reasons,
and crumble.
and not all, and they're not all linear, so they're not all
Yeah,
going to take the same amount of
very
time.
true. Very true.
Uh, and they develop at different rates, and unfortunately, they fall at different rates.
They
So,
fall at different rates. Yes.
so I hope we're part of the positive aspect.
Yeah, yeah. That would be nice to think that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
think so. Absolutely. All right. So next week we are going to finish with Uncivil Agreement by Liliana Mason.
yep.
It's a political science psychology book. And then we're both going to uh, use Google Vids and play around and see if we can create a nice video that summarizes a little bit of what we've talked about in
Brings
this
it all
adventure.
together. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this has been so fun. And are we going to do 2 weeks? I think we should do 2 weeks,
I think so too.
because it's another brainy book, and I'm going to have to rest my brain and
Yeah.
try to understand and clearly be coherent about my thoughts, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Dr. Venus, and thank you to our listeners. And I just hope that you write in some suggestions for our books for next season. It,
That
and give us a holler. And thank you for listening. And have a great week, a great 2 weeks. And we'll see you in a couple weeks with a last book of the list.
looking forward to it.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.